between high-ranking officials of 3 countries. Then the right to repair movement to reduce electronic waste in Thailand. And we explore the meaning of love through an NFT art exhibition. Swadika, I'm Nad Bunag and welcome to This Week with Thai PBS World. Tackling cross-border crime, especially along the Thai-Myanmar border, is ongoing. Among the significant developments this week was the meeting between a high-ranking Chinese official and high-level security officials from both Myanmar and Thailand about measures to deal with the scam call centers. This was the moment when troops from the Karen Border Guard Force raided suspected call centers in Shwe Kok Ko. They arrested more than 1,000 people of various nationalities, but most were Chinese nationals. The raid was ordered by the Karen Border Guard Force leader, Saw Shittu, as part of the ongoing trilateral campaign involving Thailand, Myanmar, and China to stamp out Chinese-run scam call centers in the Myawaddy and Tha Khilek border townships of Myanmar. This follows the recent encounter between Chinese Assistant Minister for Public Security Liu Zhongyi and Saw Shittu himself, who has vowed to crack down on all scam call centers in Myanmar this month. Liu Zhongyi also met with Thailand's Defense Minister Phumtham Wechayachai to insist on the imposition of measures to tackle the call centers and rescue those who have been lured into working for them. Phumtham says that a meeting between the 3 countries will take place next week and that he believes that the tripartite cooperation will help tackle the persistent problem. With the ongoing cooperation between China, Thailand, and Myanmar, China's Assistant Minister for Public Security, Liu Zhongyi, has proposed a few measures to tackle transnational crime, especially with the scam call centers in Myanmar. One of those measures is to maintain the restrictions on electricity, fuel, and internet services, which have been imposed on 5 locations in Myanmar since February 5th. China has actually applauded Thailand for this move, which they say has proven to be effective in disrupting scam call centers in Myanmar. Thailand also insists that it will continue enforcing these restrictions. And another measure is to tighten border control to prevent scammers in Myanmar fleeing the country, as well as to facilitate the transit and repatriation of Chinese nationals. He also proposed the enhancement of the cooperation between China, Thailand, and Myanmar while respecting sovereignty, international, and domestic laws. Meanwhile, the Rajmanu Task Force reported that 1,219 people of 12 nationalities rescued from the scam call centers in Myawaddy have been transferred to Masot, and 1,041 people are actually Chinese nationals, and other nationalities are also included, whether it's Malaysian, Pakistani, South African, and Kenyan people as well. And so far, China has started repatriating its nationals. 16 charter flights have also been arranged, and they will fly from Masot Airport to Xishuangbanna in southern China. Following heavy pressure from Thailand and China, the operation to tackle scam call centers in Myanmar seems to have picked up pace. I had a chance to talk to Dr. Panithan Wattanayakon about how he views the efforts by Thailand, Myanmar, and China and what needs to be improved. The crackdown on scam operations in Myanmar, which have been preying on thousands of victims of various nationalities, have started to speed up following pressure from the Chinese government. China's Assistant Minister for Public Security, Liu Zhongyi, has been in Thailand and Myanmar to discuss measures to tackle scam call centers, mostly operated by Chinese criminal gangs, and to arrange the rescue of the victims. Dr. Panithan Wattanayakon, an independent national security analyst, feels that China's intervention has proven to be effective. But tackling the issue amid internal conflicts in Myanmar can be tricky and must be addressed with caution.
I think the approach of the Chinese in working on the ground with minority groups in different areas and pushing them, negotiating with them directly, instead of waiting for the government of Myanmar. the Myanmar military to push them. I think that approach proved to be quite effective, given the fact that the Tatmadaw or the military in Myanmar are not able to control a few areas, especially along Thai-Myanmar, Myanmar-China borders. I think the direct approach, on one hand, is quite impressive. On the other hand, it becomes more complicated as the fightings between Tatmadaw or the Myanmar government continued with several different groups. So if this approach are not carefully executed, it could be backfired, meaning that it could give advantages either to the Myanmar government, the military, or the minority on the ground. So I think the Chinese, in particular, must have a good balance, not to involve in their civil war, not to involve in their conflicts.
Even though the Thai government has cut electricity, fuel, and internet supplies to the border townships in Myanmar, Dr. Panithan feels that the measures are not effective enough to stamp out these scam networks completely.
So if the Thais are very serious about cleaning up their own houses, arresting some of these high-profile individuals who are involved in these operations, I think that would be a better measure, either midterm or long term. Also, better effective laws to control the financial institutions, cross-border activities, a lot more to do in order to achieve a big win against this transnational crime.
While acknowledging that the tripartite cooperation between Thailand, Myanmar, and China will tackle cross-border crimes, the national security analysts suggest that they could have used the existing collaboration among ASEAN members to combat transnational crime.
No country alone can tackle these transnational crimes, and China, although quite impressive in terms of quick reaction to this problem. But I think we need to be careful and reconsider how we can incorporate our close cooperation with China, with other ASEAN countries. If we work together at once, I think these transnational crime organizations will have less places to run around. And I think and that will be a much better approach.
According to UNODC, cyber-enabled fraud caused financial losses of between 18 and 37 billion US dollars in East and Southeast Asia in 2023. These losses mostly come from scams committed by organized crime gangs in Southeast Asia. Therefore, it requires a collaborative effort by various countries to clamp down on these scam networks, not just the three countries. Nad Bunag reporting for Thai PBS World. And right now, our business anchor, Frank Hanshi, joins me in the studio to talk about the economic outlook for 2025 as Thailand's economic growth remains sluggish compared to other ASEAN countries. So, Frank, what did the World Bank say for Thailand's economic outlook?
Yes, as what you said, actually World Bank, they reveal an economic outlook in 2025 for Thailand. And actually, GDP growth of Thailand is better than expected. What we can see on the screen right now, 2.6% in 2024, whether this is a projected amount here, and 2.9% in 2025. However, the recovery since pandemic level is still lagging behind other neighboring countries, taking Vietnam, for example, because Vietnam authority already revealed a high figure at 7.09%, and Malaysia's central bank also revealed a figure at 5.1% in 2024. So in the World Bank's report, it indicates that actually Thai government has already implemented some measures, including 10,000 cash handout program to its citizens to boost domestic consumption here. And also, tourism industry recovers to 85% of the pre-pandemic level here. But manufacturing growth still remained flat. A senior economist for Thailand in World Bank told me that if Thailand's government wants to incentivize the economy, I think right now the government needs to encourage innovation and help SMEs, small and medium enterprises here, because SME account for 90% of Thailand's businesses. Take a listen.
So there are a number of things that the government can do. One is open up markets, make them more competitive, so that large players don't dominate the market. Larger incumbents can, so new companies are able to come in. Open access to skilled labor, including from abroad, skilled professionals, and also make sure that the local education system produces the right skills. That means that private sector should be involved.
So to drive the economy to achieve the goal of high-income country for Thailand by 2037, there are a lot of things that the government has to overcome, including the barriers for FDIs and skilled labor. And another part, lastly, we have to talk about is public debt and high household debt too, because public debt right now is at a figure at 63.3%. There's a legal ceiling, according to Thai law, is 70%. But right now, the government trying to push a lot of infrastructure projects. It means that they need money. So we have to monitor if the legal ceiling will be adjusted or be broken soon. Another part is high household debt. Right now, it's over 90% here, which affects, of course, domestic consumption power here. So Ned, we still have to monitor if Thailand's government can push for sustainable growth in the economy. This is very important.
It is very important because not just in Thailand, where they place importance on sustainable growth, everywhere around the world is focusing on sustainability as well. Thank you, Frank. And over the years, non-functional electronic devices and phones are being thrown away instead of getting fixed due to higher repair costs and limited access to parts. This has led to excessive electronic waste, of which Thailand generates up to 450,000 tons annually, sparking environmental concerns. A right to repair movement has been launched in Thailand to allow consumers easier access to repairs. Warisara Sahan has more details.
How often do you replace your phone? Or how often do you fix your electronic devices? When the product's life gets shorter or incapable of having it fixed by yourself, there's an argument that this may be a strategy of planned obsolescence, where the companies or manufacturers set the lifespans for their products to increase sales. This is where the right to repair movement started. Thailand has a large independent repair sector for smartphones and other electronic devices, so local repair shops are an alternative for consumers. The situation nowadays, though, is difficult for those shops, as some companies have implemented physical, legal, and digital barriers to independent repair. Edward Radcliffe, who is Executive Director of Southeast Asia Public Policy Institute, gives one great example, which is parts pairing.
If you go to an independent repairer and you have a battery or a screen replaced, something like that, then essentially the phone will reject that part because it isn't coordinated and serialized by the manufacturer themselves or by an authorized dealer.
Some of those companies provide repair services, but they can be expensive. As a result, consumers throw their products away and buy new ones. This means that Thailand has to deal with the environmental impact of electronic waste.
Thailand produces around 450,000 tons of e-waste per year, and studies indicate around 25,000 tons of that is e-waste from smartphones and tablets, which are highly repairable and fit well into a right to repair framework.
The concept of the right to repair movement is for consumers or repair shops to have the right to fix products with access to parts, tools, and documentation. Right to repair has some legal provisions in the EU and some states in America, but not in many areas of Southeast Asia. Thailand, however, has proposed the Liability for Defective Goods Bill, or Lemon Law, which is a bill aimed at enhancing consumer protection against defective products. Edward believes that adding a right to repair law could ease the e-waste issue.
So around mandatory or mandating for access to parts and schematics and manuals for repairers and banning the practices like parts pairing. Those aren't in the law. They could be in the law.
กฤษดาแสงเจริญทรัพย์ Director of the Master of Laws program at Rangsit University, points out the challenges for this movement in society. One of the challenges is the consumer's mindset.
ถ้าอุปกรณ์เราเก่าปุ๊บหรือเสียปุ๊บส่วนใหญ่แล้วเรามักเลือกที่จะทิ้งมากกว่าเลือกที่จะซ่อมตรงนี้น่าจะเป็นปัญหาหนึ่งเลยครับ
Another challenge is the trustworthiness of the local repair shops. Most independent shops are fixing stuff by themselves without instruction manuals from manufacturers. Some parts are hard to find. This is an area that consumers are concerned about.
อาจจะต้องมานั่งคุยกันกับอาจจะเป็นสมาคมหรือผู้แทนของร้านรายย่อยเนี่ยเพื่อมาดูว่าเขาสามารถที่จะพูดคุยแล้วก็คอมโพรไมซ์จุดตรงกลางที่สุดตรงนี้ได้มากน้อยแค่ไหน
Apart from having a right to repair policy, one of the most important keys is raising awareness of repair culture in Thai society. Park Poom Gomesopa, Director of the Repair Community Thailand, offers non-profit repair cafes as a space in which people can get familiar with the repair culture.
We have a manual ready, we have a database ready, we have a messaging channel ready to communicate with whoever interested. That will start populating like initial groups of communities that are trying to work on right to repairs around the nation.
It is, however, unclear yet where the right to repair movement will be headed in legislation, as this movement is quite new to the country. Park Poom believes that empowering repair culture at the consumer level could be a key to the success of this movement.
Every initiative on repairs or repair economy in country that already have right to repair policy enforced, it's all started with the consumer. It starts with the local community at the grassroots.
Warisala Sehan reporting for Thai PBS World.
Moving on to Thai education, there are a few scholarships offered by the Thai government for Thais to study master's or doctorate programs overseas with the condition that they must repay the investment by using their expertise in respective fields back in Thailand. The case of Dr. Keng, a former lecturer at Mae Pha Luang University who received a government scholarship to study for a PhD in the UK and was sued for 16 million baht, has now been dropped. This means she owes nothing. The hidden cost of this ordeal remains significant as they are the costs that could have been prevented with a greater awareness of mental health issues. Let's find out more in the special report.
This year, the Pheu Thai-led government will update and reinstate policies previously implemented during the Thaksin era. The Finance Ministry will fund the scheme through special 2-year charity lottery tickets aiming to raise 10 billion baht. This will supplement the government's overseas scholarship program under the supervision of the Civil Service Commission, which currently supports around 1,700 students to the tune of about 1 million baht each annually, totaling 1.7 billion baht. Not all students succeed or return to serve the country. Some are unable to fulfill their commitments due to unforeseen illness, as in the case of Prapakorn Winay Sthapon, also known as Dr. King.
บอกตามตรงว่าไม่ได้มี passion ที่จะเป็นด็อกเตอร์ไม่ได้มี passion ที่จะไปเรียนปริญญาเอกไปเป็นอาจารย์เพื่อต้องการมี contribution ให้กับสังคมนะคะพัฒนาสังคมอะไรเงี้ยแต่พอไปถึงจุดหนึ่งเราเข้าไปอยู่ในระบบมันเป็น requirement ขององค์กรว่าเราจะต้องไปรับการเทรนถ้าพูดภาษาเอกชนก็คือเราต้องไปเข้าหลักสูตรปริญญาเอกเพื่อที่จะได้กลับมาเป็นนักวิชาการที่มีความรู้ความเชี่ยวชาญความเข้าใจเกี่ยวกับระบบการทำวิจัยนะคะเพื่อที่จะเอาองค์ความรู้มาถ่ายทอดให้กับสังคมได้ก็ตอนนั้นก็ในเมื่อเรารักอาชีพนี้เราก็ต้องไป
Dr. King left her promising job in the private sector to follow her passion for teaching, joining Mae Pha Luang University as a lecturer. After 3 years in this role, she was granted a government scholarship to undertake a PhD in economics at the University of Kent in the UK.
ตอนช่วงก่อนป่วยเนี่ยรู้จักเป็นคนเข้าสังคมเยอะมากนะคะก็ทั้งนักเรียนไทยทั้งนักเรียนทุนรัฐบาลทุนส่วนตัวเนี่ยในเมืองนั้นใน University of Kent เนี่ยก็เจอกันเยอะเลยค่ะมีกัน10 กว่าคนอะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็มาเจอกันตลอดแล้วก็ไปร่วมกิจกรรมด้วยนะคะก็เป็นคนที่เข้าสังคมและน้องๆก็แบบก็น่ารักกันนะคะ
In 2010, Dr. King visited her family in Thailand for 3 months. After returning to her studies, signs of mental illness became noticeable. Though she was advised to see a psychiatrist, she didn't receive any medication. A couple of years later, her condition deteriorated significantly. The once lively person became severely mentally ill and was admitted to a psychiatric hospital.
จนประมาณต้นเดือนมิถุนาปี 2555 นะคะก็เกิดอาการคลุ้มคลั่งหนักเพราะว่าคุณแม่เสียชีวิตที่เมืองไทยเนี่ยก็เสียใจมากแล้วก็ไม่อยากทำงานละประกอบกับอาการป่วยที่มันมีมาด้วยก็ไปบอกอาจารย์ว่าไม่ทำละฉันจะกลับบ้านละฉันไม่อยากอยู่ที่นี่แล้วก็พอคลุ้มคลั่งจะกลับเมืองไทยแล้วก็เกลี้ยวกล่อมอารมณ์ก้าวร้าวอะไรเงี้ยมันสะสมมาเรื่อยๆแล้วก็สุดท้ายอาจารย์ก็โทรไปแจ้งตำรวจให้มาพาตัวไปไว้โรงพยาบาล
With her supervisor's support, Dr. King completed her PhD and returned to teach at Mae Pha Luang University. Her untreated mental illness resurfaced, though, ending her career after just 1 semester. As a consequence, the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation and the university sued her for breaching her scholarship contract, demanding 60 million baht in compensation, 3 times her scholarship amount.
พี่ไม่เคยคิดว่าจะประสบอุบัติเหตุแบบนี้ไม่มีใครคิดว่าตัวเองจะป่วยและไม่มีใครอยากป่วยนะคะถ้าอยากให้รัฐบาลดูแลนักเรียนเพื่อเตรียมการยังไงก็อยากจะเสนอให้รัฐบาลตั้งหน่วยงานเฉพาะกิจเลยค่ะเป็นหน่วยงานที่ดูแลนักเรียนทุนที่อาจจะมีปัญหาด้านจิตเวชเพราะว่าคุณ invest ไปเยอะใช่ไหมคะแล้วจะต้องกลับมาสร้างประโยชน์ให้กับสังคมก็สร้างหน่วยงานนี้ขึ้นมาเลยค่ะแล้วก็มีระบบขั้นตอนในการดูแล
In November 2024, the lawsuit concluded with the court's ruling that Dr. King had not breached her scholarship contract. She has, however, been unable to return to her lecture work and is currently unemployed.
And now on to something lighter. Love can be subjective and open to interpretation, but items that are often used to express love are flowers. In this episode of Walk-A-Tif, Kitipat Chusukjit visits an NFT exhibition which explores the meaning of love through flowers, but in the form of digital art.
This is an art exhibition where 5 artists have designed and share their love through the flowers and their own characters. Welcome to Traces of Sunlight and February art exhibition. This exhibition, organized by Art Venture NFT, brings together 5 talented artists, each using various kinds of flowers to symbolize love in many forms.
คือห้องผมเนี่ยจะพูดถึงรักในวัยเด็กผมก็เลยเปรียบดอกไม้ในห้องผมว่าเป็นดอกอลูมิไลท์ฟลาวเวอร์ก็คือดอกอะไรไม่รู้ คือมันเป็นคำผวนที่มันแบบดูเป็นสนุกวัยเด็กดีแล้วมันมีคำว่าไลท์ที่แปลว่าชอบอะไรอย่างนี้ด้วยผมรู้สึกว่ารักในวัยเด็กของเรามันเหมือนแบบว่ามันเกิดจากคำว่าชอบ
พิมพ์เลือกเป็นดอกมอร์นิ่งกอรี่เป็นดอกผักบุ้งด้วยแบบเนเจอร์มันคือเป็นดอกที่บานตอนเช้าและรุ่งโรยในตอนเย็นเราเลยเอามาตีความว่าแบบมันเหมือนชีวิตคนชีวิตรักที่แบบไม่จีรังยั่งยืนแบบเบ่งบานได้แค่ชั่วครู่ชั่วยามเดี๋ยวสุดท้ายมันก็จะหายไป
ห้องของผมเนี่ยครับเกี่ยวกับความผูกพันในความรักแล้วก็ได้เล่าเรื่องราวความผูกพันเนี่ยผ่านดอกไม้ดอกกุหลาบแต่ละสีว่าดอกกุหลาบแต่ละสีเนี่ยมันมีความผูกพันแล้วก็เอกลักษณ์ยังไงบ้าง
ดอกโรสแมรี่ค่ะเป็นดอกที่เป็นสัญลักษณ์ความรักตลอดไปถึงแม้ไม่ได้อยู่ด้วยกันงานนี้ได้รับแรงบันดาลใจจากคุณพ่ออะไรเงี้ยคุณพ่อเสียเพราะว่าโรคมะเร็งอะไรเงี้ยแล้วหลังจากท่านเสียไปเราก็ยังรักเขาอยู่เหมือนเดิมและจะรักตลอดไปอย่างนี้ด้วย
ของนุพับก็จะเป็นดอกระฆังแก้วที่อยู่บนหัวน้องกับตัวกระโปรงใช่ซึ่งดอกระฆังแก้วจะหมายถึงการเชื่อในเรื่องสมหวังในความรักใช่แต่ทีนี้ลูกครับก็เลยตีความออกมาว่าแล้วเราจะสมหวังในความรักยังไงก็คือการที่จะรู้จักรักให้เป็นรักให้ถูกต้องก็คือเราต้องรักตัวเองให้ได้ก่อน
While the theme is deeply emotional, the presentation is very modern, as the exhibition also showcases digital artworks or NFTs, a type of digital asset that allows artists to sell and showcase their work in new ways. NFTs have given artists more opportunities to reach audiences beyond galleries and museums. The trend of NFTs has, however, slowed in Thailand. One of the reasons is personal preference and the understanding of such digital assets.
ดีมาซัพพลายไม่เท่ากันเหมือนคนเข้ามาทำเยอะขึ้นมันเป็นกระแสที่แบบบางคนเข้ามาด้วยแบบหาเงินด้วย NFT 1 ล้านภายใน1 วันอะไรอย่างเงี้ยพอมันมีเข้ามาแบบแล้วคนก็อยากจะเข้ามาทำมากขึ้นพอมันเข้ามามากขึ้นคนซื้อมันน้อยลง
สำหรับคนที่เขาชอบภาพงานฝีมืออย่างเงี้ยหรือแบบชอบผลงานที่สามารถจับต้องได้แล้วเอาไปสามารถเอาไปตกแต่งร้านตกแต่งโรงแรมเขาหรือว่าตกแต่งบ้านเขาได้อะไรเงี้ยซึ่ง NFT ไม่สามารถทำตรงนี้ได้
อาจจะเรื่องแบบกลุ่มเป้าหมายอะค่ะแบบอาจจะได้สำหรับคนที่รุ่นใหม่หรือเขาเป็นในเรื่องเทคโนโลยีการแลกเหรียญอะไรอย่างเงี้ยทั้งคนรุ่นพ่อแม่ก็จะทำไม่ได้แล้วเขาจะไม่เข้าใจใช่
Despite the constraints, some artists still believe that the NFT art trend can still regain popularity in Thailand.
มีสิทธิ์ค่ะมีสิทธิ์เพราะว่าก็ยังชื่นชอบในดิจิทัลอยู่เหมือนกันอะไรเงี้ยแล้วถ้าหากว่าในอนาคตมันเริ่มมีอะไรใหม่ๆมันต้องมีการพัฒนาอยู่แล้วในอนาคตอย่างเงี้ยค่ะไม่แน่มันอาจจะเกิดการวนลูปที่แบบ NFT เริ่มฮิตกลับมาอีกอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะใช่
มันเหมือนแฟชั่นนะพี่มันเหมือนเพลงแบบว่าพอถึงเวลาอยู่ดีเพลงล็อกก็กลับมาอยู่ดีมันพอถึงเวลาเพลงฮิปฮอปมันก็กลับมาผมว่ามีโอกาสที่ NFT กลับมาได้เพราะว่าตลาดมันไม่ได้วายแบบเลิกไปเลยแต่มันก็ยังมีคนที่ยังทำอยู่แล้วก็อยู่ดีอาจจะมีอะไรบางอย่างที่ไปจุดให้มันกลับขึ้นมาอีกครั้งหนึ่งก็ได้
The exhibition also offers digital art activities, so visitors can enjoy the artworks of each artist in augmented reality. After you walk through the exhibition and scan every QR code in each zone, This website will tell what is your love life. And let's see mine. This is the wish that this exhibition gave me after I walked through the exhibition. For anyone who wants to explore the meaning of love through art, Traces of Sunlight in February is open from today until March the 5th, 2025 at Icon Siam, Bangkok. Kittipat Chungsuktip, reporting for Thai PBS World.
And we do hope to see more digital art like these in the near future. And that wraps up tonight's edition of This Week with Thai PBS World. Join us every Friday at 10:30 p.m. only on Thai PBS. And don't forget to follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest stories and analyses about Thailand. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ
ข่าวไทย PBS ข่าวที่คุณวางใจ